Hi everyone, it's Leela from Miss Kiss Kreations. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am wanting to show you how I created this beautiful blue and black tumbler using alcohol inks. I'm going to go ahead and go through the materials I'll be using. I'll also have them listed in my description below, and then we'll go ahead and get started. The materials you'll be needing for this tumbler are shown below. They'll also be listed in my description below. You'll need a stainless steel tumbler. Today I am using Hog brand from the stainlesssteeldepot.com. I'm using a 30-ounce modern curve. You'll need 91% alcohol and a clean rag or a brand new paper towel to prep your tumbler. You'll need black spray paint. I do recommend matte or satin finish. I do not recommend gloss finish for this tumbler. You'll need some alcohol inks. Today's color scheme, it's going to be black and blue. The main color that you need for this tumbler is the white. So I am using Piñata Blanco. You can use any color scheme you like, but you need the white alcohol ink. It cannot be a mixative alcohol ink. And anytime that you are working with epoxy, alcohol inks, spray paints, I do recommend you always wearing gloves. You're going to be needing epoxy. The epoxy that I'll be using today is Amazing Clear Cast. And again, all of my materials and the colors and the brands that I'll be using today will be posted in my description below. And when I say I do not recommend you using a mixative on this tumbler, this is what I mean when I say mixative. Tim Holtz carries a mixative color white snow cap. This consistency of this alcohol ink is a little thicker than your normal alcohol inks, and it won't run as well as I want it to down the tumbler to achieve the overall look of the tumbler. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be my very first step of this tumbler, and this is my very first step of every single tumbler that I start, and I do have a video on how I prep my tumblers. So I take my 91% alcohol and I just spray it around my tumbler, and I make sure I spray a heavy amount of alcohol, because I'd rather spray too much than too little. And then I just wipe my tumbler down with a new paper towel, and I cut my paper towels into fourths just to save some money with that. And then I wipe down my tumbler. Now I get a lot of people contacting me about the rim of their tumbler, so you want to make sure that you do spray your tumbler with your alcohol on the rim of your tumbler, because if you do not spray your tumbler and wipe it down with alcohol, then the epoxy, when applied, will repel. So you don't want any fisheyes, you don't want it to repel on this tumbler. You want to make this as easy as you can during the entire process. You also want to make sure you are using 91% alcohol. Do not use 70 or 71% alcohol. It is not the same as 91% alcohol. You want the highest content of alcohol. I did get a makeup bottle, and I just transferred in a makeup bottle just to make it easier for me. Once your tumbler is sprayed with your 91% alcohol, this is when you're going to spray paint it. After I spray and wipe down my tumbler with 91% alcohol, I make sure I don't touch my tumbler, or I try to touch my tumbler as little as I can. If I do, I just touch the bottom. I did transfer my tumbler to a cup turner arm, so this lets me have more control of my tumbler, and it's less prone to drop it in the ground when I spray paint it. The spray paint that I will be using is by Rust-Oleum, and it is Ultra Matte Black. Again, I do recommend a matte, flat, or satin finish black spray paint. This cup is going to be black and blue, so it has to be black. I do not recommend semi-gloss or gloss. And for me personally, I don't have any favorite brand of spray paint. I grab whichever one is available, or whichever one is the cheapest whenever I go to purchase them. All right, I went ahead and I sprayed my tumbler, and my black spray paint is now dry. So we're going to move on to the next step. I now put my tumbler on its turner. The turner that is featured in this tutorial is Nodway cup turner, and they are on Amazon. I will be posting their link in my description below. I've had this turner for about a couple months and I try to use it as much as I can. This company did send me this turner to test it out and they asked me to review it for them. I don't like to place a review on my channel after using a turner for 1 or 2 times. I like to try it out a couple months or so. So this turner hasn't died on me. It's a really good turner, and instead of a football, it actually comes with a pool noodle, and it comes with a bigger one and a smaller one, but I just use my 30 ounces for this specific one just to keep the noodle on there so I don't have to keep changing it out. All right, y'all, I am back and I did mix my epoxy. If I sound funny, I do have my respirator mask on to protect me from the fumes of the epoxy. I went ahead and mixed 20 mLs of epoxy. So I mixed 10 ml of part A and 10 ml of part B. I'm going to go ahead and turn my cup turner on. And then I'm going to apply all of this epoxy to my tumbler. Now that I have my epoxy on my tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and use my alcohol inks. I'm going to use every color besides white. So I'm going to be using my Sailboat Blue by Tim Holtz, my Pool by Tim Holtz, and then I have Turquoise by Reese. So I'm just going to squirt these onto the tumbler. Just going to squeeze them right onto the tumbler. And like I say with all my videos, there's no rhyme or reason on how I'm doing this. I'm just randomly placing these colors all around the tumbler. And you're not going to see any of the colors. You're just going to see little dots around the tumbler. That's okay. Don't freak out. We're going to go ahead and make the design whenever we add the white. So again, you can use reds and yellows and orange. You can use purples, greens. I just wanted to show you this blue one that I really, really love. I made this one a couple months ago, and it was a really big hit for my customers. It sold really, really quickly, so I wanted to show y'all this. And I'm trying to cover up most of the tumbler. There's going to be some space. I don't know if the camera's picking up, but you could see some space where it looks gray. That's where I did not add the alcohol ink. That's okay. It's going to all wash together whenever I add the white. Now that I have all the alcohol inks on the tumbler, I'm now going to turn off my turner. Now I'm going to take off my tumbler off its turner. So I'm going to keep it on its arm, but I'm just going to keep the tumbler like so. I'm going to come in with my Piñata Blanco white, and then I'm just going to... Okay, so once I have my tumbler off the turner, I'm going to hold it, and then I'm just going to add the whites down the tumbler like so. I had to move my station, guys. I realized that I didn't have enough table space for the frame of this video to show y'all. So I'm just going to drip the alcohol inks on the top. It's okay if you see on the bottom they're kind of running together. There's no rhyme or reason on how I'm doing this. I'm just dripping the white down. You just do it until your heart is happy with it. So I did some bottom here. And you can hold it. You can let the inks run down some. You can hold it back up some. Let it run. Don't freak out. The epoxy won't come off of the tumbler. The epoxy will just move all around. And that's okay. You want the epoxy to kind of move. You want that, that swirl effect, the blend effect. You want all of that. I really, really love how this blue comes out. So I just put it all over the tumbler. Like I said, you can just do this and just stand your tumbler straight up and just let it drip down. Now I'm going to put my tumbler back on its turner. Once the tumbler is back on its turner, now you're going to start seeing the epoxy kind of move around. And over a course of about 30 minutes to an hour, you're really going to see these swirls really start swirling together. So you want to make sure you're putting a thick coat. Again, I use 20 ml total of epoxy. You want to make sure you're putting a thick coat on this tumbler, because if you don't put that thick coat, these swirls, it's not going to swirl around. It's just going to be one multiple blobs around the tumbler. So I'm going to let this spin for 20 minutes. I'm going to set a timer, and then I'll start my camera again, and I'll show you how different it's changed in 20 minutes. All right, it's been 20 minutes since this has been on its turner, and you could see the difference of the tumbler already. I love how it creates those swirls in there. And this is really beautiful whenever you go to add like more colors. Like if I were to add like green, yellow, blue, red, it's really, really pretty. So I just want to remind you that you don't have to use the same color scheme as me. You don't have to stick to the same colors, the same shades. Have fun with this and really create something beautiful. And you can add more whites in here. So if you want all of this to be swirled together, see these blank spaces? If I would add more of the white, then all of these colors would have mixed together more. Also, if I would have add more alcohol ink, the spaces where there's like right here or right here, that's where there was no alcohol ink. But I like how it comes out this way. But like I said, have fun with it, play around with it, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. So now I'm going to let this stay on my cup turner for another 4 to 6 hours. After it has been spinning to 4 to 6 hours, I'm going to then turn off my turner, and then I'm going to let it sit for another 4 to 6 hours. So the total drying time I want is going to be 12 hours. After your tumbler is completely dry, you can be done with it. So you can go ahead, clean up the inside, and you can use it, you can sell it, or what you can do is let it dry for 12 hours. You can add your decal, go ahead and epoxy over the decal, let that dry, and then be done with it. I love how beautiful this tumbler comes out, and the fact that I use so much epoxy on this tumbler, you have that thick coat of epoxy. If you want to keep it this way, that thick coat of epoxy is enough. There's no bubbles, there's no bumps from glitter. This finishes very, very smoothly. So I just want to show you one that I recently did. So all I did with this tumbler was the same thing. I just used red alcohol ink and then I added the white. But this is the only coat of epoxy that I used. And I went ahead and I sold this tumbler right when it was finished. So you see my customer didn't want a decal or anything, so this is ready to go. If she wanted a decal, I would have placed the decal over this one, and then I would have just epoxied right over. And you can see with this tumbler compared to this tumbler, I added a lot more alcohol ink, so it gave it more depth to it. So like I said, you can have fun with all these tumblers. Put your own spin on these, and you can see the difference. They're still both beautiful, they're just slightly different designs. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped you while making tumblers. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tumblers and craft videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see y'all next time.